Today, we're going to talk about 7 easy upgrades so you can get more fiber in your diet.
Boy, Aunt Gertrude, she really liked her prunes, let me tell you. And so when I was growing up, I thought that prunes were just something that as you got older, that was something you're going to have to eat by the fistfuls. But it turns out that fiber is much more than that. And so that's what we're going to talk about today: what fiber is, why you need it, and then 7 swaps or easy additions so you can get more fiber into your life.
The information in this video is for educational purposes only.
The standard American only gets about 15 grams of fiber in their diet, but it turns out that we're really supposed to get at a minimum of 25 grams, and some of us more than that. So let's talk about some of those swaps that I mentioned. The first is bread. So a lot of us, if we're going to eat bread, we eat white bread. So that on average has about 1 gram per serving. It depends, of course, on the brand you get and that sort of thing. So I like to swap that out for sprouted bread or multigrain bread. I personally like Dave's Killer Bread, and so this one is Seed the Day, and it has about 3 grams of fiber per slice. So if you're eating a sandwich, that's 6 grams of fiber. And one thing to note, you may think, well, I'm eating plants, I'm eating fruits and vegetables, I'm doing what they tell me to do, and so surely I'm getting enough fiber. Well, it turns out that not all plants are created equal when it comes to fiber. So for instance, I think most of us have heard that blueberries are good for us. But in order to get that 25 grams of fiber that I mentioned, you would need to eat 6 cups of blueberries every day to get that in. So the swaps that I'm talking about here are more meaningful, so you can get more with less. So that brings me to number 2. If you're going to use or eat rice, a lot of us eat white rice. Again, I looked in the pantry, and so for the white rice that I have on hand, it has between 0 and 2 grams per serving. So that's why I use farro instead. It's the same preparation, and it has about 5 grams of fiber. And you may think, farro, what is that? I've never even heard of that. It's an ancient grain, and so what I have here is the kind that I get. I got this from Walmart. It's something that you can pick up. Perhaps you just never thought about looking for it before. So that's number 2. Before we go on to number 3, let's talk about what fiber is. It is something that comes from plants, but it's not fully digestible, which sounds like it would be a bad thing, right? But no, that's why it supports your gut. And we'll get into the why that's important in a minute. But first, let's go on to swap number 3. So you're eating salads to be healthier. One thing that you can do is switch out iceberg lettuce to kale. And the thing about kale, though, is that it's better when you massage it. You may be like, what? Exactly. So I went to an online cooking class and heard somebody say this. Maybe I was the last person that didn't know this. But if you massage kale, it makes a huge difference in the taste when you're eating raw kale. And what do I mean by that? I'll show you. Take some olive oil, or if you're doing dressing of some sort, but it is literally what it sounds like. You're massaging the kale, get the liquids in the kale, and then let it sit for about 5 minutes, and it really makes a difference. Super yummy. When you switch out iceberg lettuce for your kale, then you're getting around 3 grams of fiber whenever you're eating 2 cups of raw kale. But where you really get your bang for your buck is when you eat cooked kale, because it shrinks in volume. So for the same 2 cups, you're getting about 6 grams of fiber. So one way that I like to do that is kale chips. Not showing them here today because I'm not super consistent on being able to get the nice crunchy kale chips. If you know that recipe on how to do that consistently every time, please drop it in the comments. On to swap number 4. You may already be aware that if you like sour cream or want to use sour cream in something, Greek yogurt is a pretty good substitute. And so Greek yogurt is awesome when it comes to protein, but here's how you can add some fiber. Take your Greek yogurt and then add in about a tablespoon of flaxseed. If you are someone that needs to look at things and everything has to look perfectly pretty, this one may not be for you. It does change the way it looks a little bit, but it absolutely does not change the taste at all. And so with 1 tablespoon of flaxseed, you get 3 grams of fiber. Before we go on to number 5, I want to talk about why fiber. You're likely here because you've heard get more fiber in, but do you know why? Fiber is made up of soluble and insoluble fiber. Most plants have some amount of both of that, so you don't really need to understand the difference in that, but you will hear those terms. What it helps with, that's what you may want to know about. Why are you in this fiber quest? Fiber helps regulate your blood sugar, it helps lower your LDL cholesterol, and it helps your gut microbiome. So, with all of those things, there's a lot of value in having fiber. And it also helps with weight management, which isn't a bad thing. So, on to number 5. If you like pasta, instead of having regular white pasta or even wheat pasta, a more fiber rich option would be we have chickpea pasta that you can see here. And so this chickpea pasta has 8 grams of fiber in one serving. And then if you don't like the taste of purely chickpea, they also have lentil pasta. You can get something like this, which actually is a combination of the bean pasta and regular pasta. So you get a little bit of both. And so for this, in one serving, you get 5 grams. Again, better than if you're just having regular pasta. On to number 6. If you like the occasional chips, which is okay, a good swap for that is chickpeas. So these are so crunchy and they're so good. They really are satisfying as something that's optional and different from chips. And I cook these in my Breville toaster oven. You can preheat this in about a fourth of the time of a regular oven and get these cooked and out in 34 minutes. And this is hands-off cooking. You can do something else while they're cooking. Why I mentioned the Breville oven, why I try to eat healthy, why I try to support my clients, why they eat healthy. We also want to do that without it taking up half of our life. Anything we can do to speed up the process and simplify things. So that oven is something, as I mentioned, it can heat up in about a fourth of the time. It also toasts, it air fries, it dehydrates. So for me, that's like my all-in-one simplifying. I do everything that. So now we're to our last swap or elevation to get more fiber in. And so I'll put a list of all these up at the end so you can see them consolidated. But now on to the last one. It can go with that chickpea pasta that we just talked about, or it can be for something else. But you can take some tomato sauce, whether you're using this for pizzas or pasta or something else. Same thing. It's a little bit of a cheat. It's what I already talked about, but it's adding in some flaxseed. Now here you're a little better off because you can't see it once you mix it in, but you mix this in and you have 3 extra grams of fiber in your probably Italian dish. Now, if you're looking for more options to add fiber into your diet, I have a meals and minutes guide, and I'll provide a link to that in the description. It provides more options for fiber. It also provides options for protein as well as healthy fats and an AI prompt so you can find out specifically for your taste and for your individual needs what's best for you. But before we go, I do want to provide a bonus tip. So I've been talking a lot about flaxseed. I keep mine in a container in my pantry. So you'll often find that vegans use flaxseed as a substitute for eggs in some recipes. And the reason I mention that is if you're eating eggs, eat an egg. But if you're using an egg for the purpose of being a binder in something that you're baking or something like that, another option is instead of that egg, 1 tablespoon of flaxseed and 3 tablespoons of butter, and then let that sit for just a moment. It will bind together and you can use it. And again, simple swap, don't taste it, and you get some more fiber in.
Let's recap the fiber upgrades that we went over today. Instead of white bread, you can use whole grain or sprouted bread. I like to use Dave's Killer Bread, Seed the Day. You can also change out your white rice for farro or even barley. That has a simple preparation that's very similar to rice. When it comes to iceberg lettuce, go ahead and switch that out for massaged kale. Or if you're good at it, do those kale chips. Then for sour cream, go ahead and switch that over to Greek yogurt. That gives you some extra protein. And add 1 tablespoon of flaxseed and boost your fiber as well. You can swap out your standard white or wheat pasta with one that is bean-based or one that is a bean and wheat combination base, and that will boost you at least 6 grams of fiber. Moving on to chips, if you like the salty, crunchy, roasted chickpeas is an awesome substitute for that. It's about 5 minutes of prep max and then 30 minutes of hands-off cooking. Then you have your regular pasta sauce. Just go ahead and add another tablespoon of flaxseed to that. Then with all the mention of flaxseed today, I couldn't help but mention the hack that's often used by vegans of 1 tablespoon of flaxseed and 3 tablespoons of water. When you let that sit, it's basically similar to an egg binder and another easy way to sneak some extra fiber in.
Now, if all this was useful to you, but you're thinking to yourself, I have this unique situation and it doesn't quite fit this. And I wish that I knew, how to fit this in for my own life. Provide one-on-one health coaching. I'm an Ashley board certified health coach. And so if you need more specialized support, I'm happy to help you there as well. And now we'll hear from the real experts at Personalized Paths Health Coaching.
Oh, I know someone that had to get pumpkin in their food to help with fiber.
Do we have to talk about that? On to the next episode.